Yeah, I didn't know how much I would sell either. I mean, this is a trading card of a character most people haven't heard of, obviously. The book's not even out yet.
Right.
But I wanted to
Right.
get people talking about the book and generate some buzz. And, like all trading cards, this could potentially gain
Thank you,
value.
Terry.
And it also offers people the opportunity to pre-order the book. Um, so, I thought it would be worthwhile to kind of get that out there ahead of the book, generate some
I
buzz with that.
And an innovative idea, dude. I don't think I've ever seen anybody try that yet.
Yeah, I
So
haven't seen it before. I just, you gotta work with what you got. You know a famous
yeah,
person and who could be a character in your book. Why not?
there you
But
go.
yeah, I've got the same idea going with these miniatures. Same thing. If you prefer a miniature fighter jet, something, if you're a Warhammer 3D print collector kind of person, if you like models and you would like to paint things, that's probably
Did
more
you
up your
did
alley.
you read comics
Oh
growing
yeah, I
up,
love
or is
all
this?
the little toys and the figures.
I wasn't much of a comic book reader growing up. I was always, a big Star Wars fan. I could tell you, like, I would watch like the Death Star trench run over and over again, just
Mhm.
rewind that
Oh
scene.
Yeah.
Top Gun, like a lot of my influences are in this comic book. No, I didn't discover comic books till later, and I'm just fortunate to be connected with the people that I am connected with, and
Yeah.
very blessed that they've helped me out and they're on my creative team. I think the story is great. I know Mike certainly believes in it. He gave me the best backhanded compliment I've ever received when he read my first draft of the script. He said it's no worse than the bleep that Marvel and DC are currently publishing.
Yeah. There you
but
go.
um, but no, he
yeah,
also said
that's
it's a
like
fun space opera, and something I'm very proud of that everyone who's read the script has said is they had fun reading it. Um,
Besides Star Wars and probably Battlestar Galactica too, what
definitely that.
other influences are we talking about for this
Brave
story?
New World. It's got that dystopian aspect to it.
nice.
Certainly, Planet Earth in this
Now,
setting
Brave New
is
World was an NBC TV show, wasn't it?
no. It started as a novel written by Aldous
Oh,
Huxley
you
in the
know what I'm
20s.
thinking? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Above and Beyond, I think.
Uh,
Was it? I don't know if you saw that or not, but that was sort of a space
mm.
type, future space type thing.
Brave New World doesn't have anything to do with space. It's all dystopian though. It really
Okay.
Yeah.
inspired George Orwell to write 1984.
Mm.
Um, and the movie Demolition
Oh,
Man.
okay, okay, but now that's been adopted very early in the movies and stuff, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of movies have been influenced by it. The movie Demolition Man in the 90s, the Sylvester Stallone movie. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of a parody of 90s action movies, but also like I think it's like the smartest dumb movie out there.
What do you think,
Um,
RJ? Are we living 1984 now?
I think we're living in more of a Brave New World type of setting because the difference is in 1984, Orwell kind of described the Soviet Union at the time, and
Mhm.
freedoms were taken away by force. Everyone was constantly being surveilled, which we are. But
Right.
I think we're more of a Brave New World setting where people voluntarily give up their freedoms in exchange for comfort.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
I think
Well, I
that's
mean,
yeah the
one
situation we're
sticky
in.
wicket for them having total takeover. This is just my take, but we have guns. We have plenty of guns, and I
We
think
have
that
those, but we volunteer our privacy. We don't value that. Freedom of speech. We don't really value that.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I
freedom to
mean,
associate and
was it
go where you want. We don't value that. We
founding
gave all that
fathers
stuff
said
Mhm.
up
if
in
you
exchange for
don't know
pleasure
your
and comfort.
liberties, you're bound to lose them, right?
Yep, exactly.
Hmm.
I mean, that's the
What?
real problem. I mean, it's easy to blame somebody else, and some people are actively trying to take away your freedoms, but there's most people out there who just don't value them enough to
Well,
to fight for
you
them.
deal with life in your day job. You deal with life and death situations every day, potentially, right?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What is the most hairiest thing you've probably seen in your
Take your pick.
firefighting?
Any number of things, any day.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's probably some stuff you can't really talk about on YouTube, right? So that.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might yeah,
Well,
might get you or something.
I always remember this story from my school principal because
Mhm,
our superintendent at our high school was an ex-Marine, so he
mm,
was pretty, disciplined and great for the job that he was then doing, right? And
mhm,
my the principal, which I never had any problem with the superintendent or the principal, I was a good little boy, believe it or not. Uh, those were two hard cases I never really wanted to have any problems with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I met with the superintendent once over a disagreement with, and actually got my mother, and we had a conference and stuff, but there wasn't anything like that. You know, like, oh yes, you see this board, this is going to come up and meet your ass very soon.
Yeah.
But he was an ex state trooper.
Mm.
And he said there was a bad wreck and there was a couple killed. And one of the most horrendous things I saw was we thought we got everybody out of the car and stuff. And then on closer examination, there was a little baby that was down in the passenger area, you know, and yeah, that type of stuff kind of sticks with you, you know.
Yeah, it will.
And that story always stuck with me, you know, from the high school years when he shared that, you know.
Yep.
Well, Rex knows my dad was a police officer, you know, my entire life. So when I was young, he was, you know, out on patrol, out on the street, and he told me they came across an accident with two semis, and they had hit each other so hard that the bumpers were locked together.
Oh wow!
So it took like hours and hours, you know, to pull these things apart and clear the road. What they didn't realize was when they pulled them apart, there was a little VW bug that was in between them.
In between, wow, wow,
yeah.
And these are probably when they had real metal bumpers, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as I know, VWs until the 2000s, they were all metal.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this was back in the day when we had metal bumpers and not just.
Well, yeah. Plus, it was two semi trucks and a bug. So, I mean,
yeah. Well, I had an ex-neighbor, schoolmate that was sleeping up in the berth of one of, you know, he drove team, and they were hit by another semi, and they had a picture of that at his funeral. He killed both of those guys. I don't know about the other driver that hit them, but or what the circumstances were. But it was just a pile of, you know, fiberglass. You couldn't even tell it was actually, you know, a truck, the front of a truck that was just shattered into a million pieces. You know, it's amazing. And I was really surprised they had like pictures of that, like at his funeral, to tell you the truth. But I guess they, you know, kind of wanted to show people what had happened. So,
right.
Yeah, we definitely see that a lot. What's more impressive to me though is the things people will walk away from. Like a lot of that is just like crush zones now on the newer cars. And you'll see these things that look, you know, totally destroyed because they are, but then people could walk away from that accident.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, you know, that we've advanced far enough to, you know, provide some protection and it all depends on where you get hit, how you get hit, you know, with the side of the car, front of the car, you know.
Yeah. Wear your seatbelt. That's my public service announcement.
Yes, wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when I don't know if I remember a time when maybe I remember some vehicles that didn't have seat belts, but I do remember seat belts in like our 67 Mustang and things like that, you know.
Well, I think I was either 18 or 19 when it became a law here. You know, it was.
Yeah, I guess it became a law in different states.
Buckle up or get pulled over, or some big campaign they did. But
I know that's mind blowing to RJ. He's like, what? Black and white TV? What?
Right.
Yeah, because it was optional up until then. All the cars had them. They were required to have them.
It was a different world. We had parking meters, you know.
Right. You didn't have those scooters that just took you everywhere?
No. Well, we had the scooters. You just didn't have a battery on them. You had to use your leg to.
Yeah, it was called a skateboard.
And they weren't just laying around the sidewalk where you just pick one up, scan it on your phone, and drive off.
I'm liking some of those new e-bikes and stuff, though, man. Those things look pretty cool.
RJ, I don't know if I gave you ample time to answer that last question about what your influences were for your comic.
Oh yeah, no, basically, you know, I'd say Star Wars, Brave New World, Battlestar Galactica, Starship Troopers. Those are the major ones.
Okay.
So if you're into any
Nice.
of that, this is definitely going to be your kind of comic book.
And a
Yeah.
Brave
Well, I
New
like
World.
all of those. So.
Great. Perfect.
And what are some more reading influences on your own? That are you? I take it you're a reader.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, if you're a writer, that kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I think.
Yeah. I'd say definitely anything by Robert Heinlein, Aldous Huxley,
Okay.
2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
All the classics, Ender's Game.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Were
I
you
wouldn't
a
say
kid?
there's. Sorry, go ahead.
Were you a kid that watched cartoons? I'm
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at your T-shirt right now.
Oh, yeah. This is merch from the Lisa Foyle's store. This is from her Temperamental podcast. This is her cat, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned I saw that over on her YouTube channel, which
Mhm.
I did subscribe to. What kind of content does she put up over there?
She calls it the Short Drive podcast. It's about like 20-minute podcast. Well, she'll just pick a random topic and
Okay.
like that. I'll say she is truly who she is. She's herself on her podcast. She's just fun and will pick something totally random and mundane, but make it funny and entertaining.
I think
And
that's who's going to be successful, on YouTube
yeah,
and other,
Yeah.
just be
right.
yourself. That way you don't have to pretend all the time, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And people will
Right.
either like you or they won't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you wake up one day and they're burning your likeness and effigy, then
Right.
maybe it's not working out for you. But
Yeah. I couldn't imagine
people
why
make-
one would do that to Lisa.
people
She's
made broadcast careers out of being hated,
right. Yeah, they
as
do.
well.
Yeah.
Especially on YouTube. That's actually, the rage
Yeah,
clip
dude.
or thing.
Yeah, being a jerk on YouTube works well for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
does.
but I think that's very limiting. I think that gets tiresome to some people, and people
Mhm.
are looking for just good content and not all the drama all the time, But now some
Yeah,
people
I mean,
feed
I
on
don't, I
that
don't know
drama.
how big of an audience you could grow off of that. I think you would have like a limited amount of growth, but I mean,
Yeah.
maybe enough to make some money.
Maybe
I
if
don't.
you're Darth Vader, it might work for you.
Right.
There you go.
Luke, Luke likes to say hating ain't creating.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Ripping on other people's stuff doesn't mean you have something original necessarily. And a lot of those people who will follow the rage clickbait aren't people who are going to back your book either. They want
No, they
Right.
just like the
Actually.
drama, and they're not backing anything anyway.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think some people have really caught on to that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah, well,
That's what I'm saying.
I've been bouncing around in all the chats and everything since around mid 2018, not too long after the whole CG thing started.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how many people I've seen in different chats that used to be part of this group or that group, and now they've got a totally different personality in the chat, than what I remember from back in the day. 'Cause when I first started off, dude, I was fired up in the chat, when I started talking and stuff, and when I saw people that I knew were just there to start crap or whatever, trolling, creators I liked, I would just go after them and just, dog them in the chat.
That's the piranha in you.
Yeah, and I don't do that much anymore.
Mellow shadow.
Only if you really, bring it out in me, I'll come after you.
That
in the
reminds
chat.
me of a cartoon I saw today on X where it was Vlad the Impaler discovers marshmallows. He's got the marshmallow on a skewer, and he's like, "These things are fantastic." That's genius. Love it.
That works in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I saw a whole thing. It was probably on the History Channel on Vlad the Impaler, and they were like examining could someone, because they said that people were skewered by him from their bum all the way up through, could this actually work? It's said that
Oh
People
yeah,
survive sometimes 3 or 4 days skewered like that through their
mhm.
body, and they showed if if you taper the end of it right, you could actually skewer people like that, like he impale people like he did, and they
Yeah,
could survive. Sometimes 3 to 4 days. I guess
yeah.
the way
Their
they
own
did it,
body,
they didn't
their own
totally
body
bleed
weight would,
out.
yeah, their own body weight
Mm.
would slowly kill you just by
But they used a
forcing it.
computer graphic to show the path of where it would miss all the major organs and everything through the
Mhm.
body.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
can't.
would just kind of push them out of the way
I
instead of
think that's probably
uh,
the only uh, capital punishment, if you will, or whatever. The way to die. That's probably worse than crucifixion.
yeah.
It's like
it,
you're
it don't sound good, that's for sure.
no, no.
Mm.
And even if you could pull yourself off that thing, right? I mean, you're going to bleed out.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just no way. I can't.
Well, I mean,
You
uh,
you can see where the Ottoman Empire took a look at that because he did that to like 2,000 of his own people, as well as the Muslim prisoners, and they're like, "There's no way we're going in there," and they left.
yeah, they said screw
That.
that.
Yeah, he was. You talk about he was right up there with Attila the Hun.
Mhm.
Where it's like, well, we'll just use
Yeah.
the bodies or the severed heads of our victims to crawl over to get over that wall.
Yeah,
You know,
my favorite story, and Vlad is no hero, but my favorite story about the real Vlad Tepes, which
hmm
Dracula is based upon, um, was I believe it was like three Muslim guys or something came to talk to him to try to negotiate something at some point, and he told them to remove their hats,
hmm
and they told him we can't do that, because it's against our religion. So he had his guard or whatever come and nail their fucking hats to their heads. And he said, well, you won't have to ever worry about it again.
Wow. I had a movie and it was unopened. It was a Billy Zane movie. He played the Phantom. He was in, had a
Hmm?
character part in Tombstone, Billy
Oh,
Zane. But he
yeah.
did a movie called Vlad. Have either of you seen Vlad?
Mm-mm.
With Billy
No.
Zane? No, I don't think so.
Billy Zane. Yeah, it was, and I watched it. One of the Quinn children, Anthony Quinn's son,
Uh-huh.
actually played Vlad the Impaler in that.
Oh, wow.
But now he did it on the sort of Dracula bit, where I don't know, it was more like the spirit of Vlad come to present day. It was more of an international movie, I think, but
Hmm. Yeah, I don't
and
think I
done
ever seen that.
probably several years ago, but it was an interesting movie. I watched it not too long ago. Back to the campaign here. So are you pleased? Is this your first campaign, RJ?
Yep. My first campaign ever.
Okay. And so what are we looking at here? You said trading card, but
Hmm.
is this and you can get autograph, but now is the comic part of this?
Yeah, you could pre-order the book if you get tier 3 or
Okay.
tier 4. So tier 3, you pre-order the book, plus you get a card. Tier 4, you get a signed card and a pre-ordered book.
Okay.
Yep.
And are
I've actually got a card right here.
cards
So this is
are
what
the
it looks
cards
like.
gonna come with the book, RJ, or are they gonna ship
You'll get both.
separately?
Yeah, you'll get both. So one side's
Oh,
Lisa,
cool.
the other side.
Oh wow, that's print size. Wow.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a nice
Yeah, it's
size
definitely
card.
not it's an 8x5. I have it like listed in the description. Yeah, so it's bigger than most trading cards are.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can't put that in a card holder.
No.
Not your standard card holder anyway. They
It's
do make
not standard.
well, they do make, for like photos and things like
That'll
that. They
go
do
like
make
in
little top
a
loaders and stuff like
comic book size top loader.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it would be
Yeah.
nicer. I mean, something I wanted, some people like to put cards into like a binder and show their friends, but I wanted to make it something people would want to put up and actually look at. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they had the full shape,
I got a bunch of both.
full
Yeah.
page binding thing. So if they still want to do that, they can. You know, it's
Yeah, they could. They could.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to art, there's no shortage of archival, just good stories that carry that type of stuff. You almost have to go online to get some stuff to preserve your different collections. Do you collect,
Mhm.
RJ? And if you do, what do you collect?
Oh, I recently started collecting just books. I don't have any trading cards,
Mhm.
other than this one. I
Now,
actually,
you say books. What type of books? Is that like some of the campaign comic books, or are you just collecting
yeah,
different
I'll go to
novels?
like Mile High, and pick up books
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want obscure books that no one's probably ever seen,
Mhm.
when it comes to the independent stuff,
Mhm.
definitely Mile High Comics. If I have one criticism of like their eBay, been on
Mhm.
eBay for years now,
Mhm.
but um, if I have one criticism of their eBay site, it's almost like you have to do a search because it's such a massive. They've got people
Oh, it's
adding
huge, dude.
thousands
Yeah.
of comics every day to it. It's like it rotates around. Okay, this type of month, it's like all the A books, and
Mhm.
then you might be in the G books or something. It's so massive, you almost have to know what you're looking for.
Yep. Yeah, it's a really huge store. It's impressive to walk in there.
Yeah, yeah. I've never been there, but one
So
of these
RJ has
days.
docked himself as being in Colorado or
Yeah, I'm in Colorado.
yeah. So which
Oh,
makes
you're in
sense if you're
Colorado
working
with
with Mike
Mike
too,
Barron.
because
Okay.
Mike's out there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
we live by each other. I actually picked up some books from Mike today. He was um gave me some signed Punisher books, so
Oh wow, sweet,
add those to the collection.
very nice.
But yeah,
Yeah, Mike
Mile High,
is
I'm lucky to
super
be by
cool,
there to
dude.
be able
I
to walk around.
love that dude.
Now,
He's
are
a great
you
guy.
going to do some conventions once you get product in hand?
Yes, that is the plan to eventually do conventions through
Okay.
the whole tour. I would like Call Sign Orion to be a series. This is just the first episode in what I hope to be a long series, a long running
Well, tell
series.
us about the story.
Excellent.
Tell us about the book
Mhm.
itself.
So the book itself, it follows the protagonist is Orion. He is the leader of a group called the Alphas, who basically are the
Hmm.
Navy SEALs of his time. So planet Earth has become sort of a dystopian setting. So up one page from the book. Also, if you go on the
Hmm.
Substack, you'll see, I don't know, the trailer. I could show you some other pages as well if you'd like, just to get some stills on there. I know you're trying to.
Okay. Yeah, I would, if I had one criticism of your very sleek, streamlined campaign, it would be put up some pages over to the left side so they're larger,
Mm,
of the artwork so that people can
hmm
go, wow, that's because what I see looks very nice. And not
hmm
everybody's going to go to the Substack. I had
Yeah.
to do that with my own campaign. They're like, I like the bog image, but it needs to be bigger. Put it over here. You know,
hmm
that was a piece of artwork we were trying to sell, and it hasn't sold yet, even though I did make it big. But at least now people can see it, get a better look at what they might be buying.
hmm
So are you going to share screen, RJ?
Yeah, I'm actually
Thanks
trying
for
to.
coming on to us.
Of
Not
course,
coming
yeah.
on to us.
Thanks for
Like
having me. I'm trying to find the
he's
best way
hitting us up,
to.
folks. You get in front of this microphone, RJ, and you at least my brain like goes left field, exit stage left. Whoa. Um, some of you get it. Snuggle puss even. Whoa. Yeah, my mind doesn't say what my brain said, or my mouth doesn't say what my brain says. Whatever. I don't know. I'm confused. Um, I'm sure RJ's rescued people like me before. Help. Yeah.
I'm just going.
So how did you get involved? As
I'm just gonna
getting Luke
open up some
Stone
pages
as
here so I
your
can screen
artist.
share.
Okay. How did you get up with Luke and get him to be doing this? Because I know he's had projects like hybrids and stuff that he does and other projects. How did you kind of sign on Luke Stone to do the artwork for it?
I've been following Luke since just before he launched Fund My Comic. I actually met him on Twitter, X, Twix, whatever it is now. Yeah, I jumped on there around the time Elon Musk bought it because I was just interested to see what he would do with it, and then I had the story that Lisa read. I actually wrote a screenplay, and it takes place in the same universe. I call it the Diaspora universe, where Call Sign Orion takes place. And I had a screenplay centering on a different character than Orion. And Lisa read that and said, because Lisa's actually written screenplays of her own. One of them almost went to like pre-production in Ireland, and a lot of movies make it to that phase and don't actually get made.
Yeah,
but
they wind up buying the rights, so no one else will scare the rights, but they don't do anything.
Exactly. So there's an Irish production company that may make a rom-com that she wrote. But
now,
she read my.
Is that in the back of your mind something somebody you would like them to, of course, to pick up, because that you'd be flush with cash at that point, probably, right?
That'd be nice.
But I mean, I think that's kind of what IDW, the publisher, does. You know, they try and get these Netflix deals and things, and it's like, instead of that, why don't we just sort of center on a good concept and good storytelling, and then if it comes, it comes. But I know there's agents out there, they try and get their things on TV, like I say, the next Netflix deal or the next movie deal. Is that kind of in your head with this?
I mean, eventually I would love for that to happen. I mean, it's a story that I want to tell. I as much as tempting as the money would be, I probably wouldn't be too happy if like Disney owned it. Right. I don't really want to sell the rights either. It would be sad to lose the right to something I create. I don't want to make the same mistake George Lucas made, You
want to have creative control over your property to a certain extent.
I hope I would have the testicular fortitude that Sylvester Stallone had when he made Rocky. He was living in a car, and he insisted that he direct and star in the movie.
Look at Todd McFarlane, dude. I mean, he's been holding out on Spawn for 20 years now, since the last one was made. So
so it's easy to say, but I would certainly hope I would have the conviction to not sell the rights, and to hopefully sell it to a company that I agree more with. And
well, you got one up on some Sly Stallone. At least you're not living out of your car, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, you can't buy testicular fortitude, that's for sure.
Who's doing your coloring? Is that Luke as well?
Patrick Gamma is Luke's colorist.
Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing. So I love what he did with the lighting. I've heard some people say, it's too pastel for my taste. Well, that's just that page. And some other pages that have the lighting, because the battle is taking place in a nebula. So it's going to be shiny. It's going to have that kind of offset lighting color. It's going to be sort of filtered through all those other colors. So I think he made it realistic, and I'll share some other pages with you here.
Is Star Wars your favorite sci-fi movie?
I consider it science fantasy, but it's definitely one of my biggest influences.
Yeah.
Which is quite obvious.
Another sci-fi movie that you really love?
Sci-fi movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I like a lot of sci-fis, but like that inspired me like creatively to do this. Like the Starship Troopers movie is fine, but I'm really more of a fan of the Starship Troopers book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, TV shows would be easy to point to, because like Stargate, Battlestar Galactica, love those.
Yeah. How about
I know you don't have a lot of.
Sorry. Go ahead, Shadowhawk.
I was just going to tell Rex, I know he doesn't have a lot of time to read because of everything he's got going on, but Brave New World is, I think, like 186 pages or something like that. And it's an amazing dystopian story. I read it when I was like 13 or 14, man, and it blew my fucking mind.
I think one movie I was thinking about early H.G. Wells was Things to Come. Was kind of like I might have been thinking was Brave New World. There we go.
I like the. I think Luke did great sequential art on all the pages, but I really like how the sequence flows on this one.
So how do like the costumes and things like that come about? Is Luke designing that for you, or do you kind of?
I gave him the concept of what I wanted because I had an image in my head, and then he went through like several renditions of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He kind of designs out from what you tell him, and then you sign off on the final thing.
Yeah, basically. So like this suit, it Elon Musk would love it. It forms a Neuralink to your brain, and it could be controlled by the wearer's thoughts, like an appendage of the body, basically. And it has like battery power. It charges when the wearer is like sitting in the seat of the Aerostar, which is their fighter jet. And then
so there's a big connection with the fighter jet.
Yep.
With the suit. Yeah.
Yep. So when they wear the suit, they could also remotely control the fighter jet as well. And the suit has its own propulsion system that gets charged from the ship, from the Aerostar.
That's kind of like what the Air Force does with the virtual sort of flying, right? And targeting and things like that, where they train with.
Yep. So this is just more futuristic. You could fly it with your thoughts, basically, have it pick you up, things like that. So here's Orion flying out of the Aerostar, landing in an enemy ship that he's blown a hole in. And
I guess you could control it to attack, to kind of get you out of a scrape if you're pinned down or something.
Exactly. It's like your own air support.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, these guys are, it's the future. So everyone flies ships, but they're basically like a Navy SEAL team and a fighter squadron at the same time. So there's a hostage situation in the book. That's what's going on in this battle, and this is a rescue mission. So Orion's girlfriend is actually one of the hostages as well, and so he's blown a hole in the ship, and him and his guys are landing inside, and they're sealing off the hole they blew up, and then they go on to rescue the hostages.
It almost looks like a portal, like a Stargate.
Yeah, it does look a little Stargate, but it's sealing off. So now I'll show you the next page here. I'm not used to doing it this way, so I'll have to do it page by page, I guess.
While you're doing that, RJ, did you say you're going to do a separate campaign on the 3D printed models, or is that included on the card?
That's going to be separate. So yeah, for both, I'll have the option to pre-order the book. But I'll be available.
I want one of those little what'd you call them? What was the name of the ship?
The Aerostar. It's the F-26 Aerostar, but they just call it an Aerostar.
I like it.
And what's the page count on the comic book?
It's 52 pages.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh,
you got a big story to tell now. So you want this to be like an ongoing series, or what?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So these three guys here are the they're like the three main dudes in the Alphas, which is like the Navy SEAL team. That's Orion in the middle, the blonde guy. And then the next panel, their helmets come off. Those are Sirius and Scorpion. They're humanoid aliens that they're like the other two top members of his team. And then the older gentleman in the bottom right, he's
which one's Scorpion and which one's Sirius?
Scorpion is the one on the right. He's kind of a more insect-looking alien. He's from a rocky desert planet.
Red highlight.
The red eyes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Red armor. Right. And green armor is Sirius. He's kind of more like a lynx, humanoid kind of thing. Most of his members of his species have full hair, like fur, along their whole head and face. But Sirius shaves it and just leaves the mohawk. That's just his style. So
nice.
Yeah.
They also have some pistols there that combine into a rifle. So you could see in the middle panel, Orion is holding a pistol in each hand, and then the next panel he's combining them into a rifle. So they have some pretty interesting technology.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
And where is this set? Where's the setting on this? Is it future Earth or is it just out there?
This is future Earth, future galaxy. So this is, this takes place in the M42 Nebula, this battle. So that's a real nebula in the Milky Way galaxy. But yeah, it's Earth in the future. We've terraformed some other planets. So there's a lot of humans who are just from other planets. Orion just happens to be from Earth. Earth has a larger government called the Union. And then there's a faction that fights against the Union called the Independent Resistance. And then later there's kind of like a rebirth of the Independent Resistance, calls themselves the NIR. That's who Viper fights with. So Viper is the antagonist of this book. He's the guy in the bottom right. He's a veteran of like 2 wars. And he captured hostages to demand the release of their actual leader, their top guy, who's in a max. He's a super max on Earth right now. So that's basically the setting for the first book.
You say Supermax, is that a prison?
Yeah, prison.
Yeah.
He's in the like Guantanamo basically.
Yeah.
And then here's the last page that I have completed. So this
Supermax would be like for death row inmates, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but like the equivalent, like the military equivalent, I guess, like where we would hold like Bin Laden if we captured him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so the lighting for this, you'll notice, is different because it's actually not being filtered through the light of a nebula outside. It's actually, on the inside of a ship, so you have more sort of regular and interior lighting.
Yeah. And I would put like a page like this up on your campaign, off to the left to show them. Now, how far along is your book?
These are the only pages I have complete right now.
Okay.
The cover's in progress.
But I mean, they are complete pages. You've got, all the artwork, you've got the lettering, you got the coloring done. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And these 4 pages happen right in the middle of the book. And I just chose those 4 because it involves a combination of space battle and ship battle. And you could get an idea of what the action's going to be like. It is a very action-driven story. It's going to be part of the fun of reading it, I think.
When do you expect this to actually, be put all together? Because 56 pages, that's a lot.
Yeah. So, 52. So I got 48 to go.
Or 52.
If you take away the 4 that are already done. I don't know. I know Luke's got kind of a full plate, but I expect to launch the campaign in February because I want to ride out, holiday season, election season. And when people are more willing to spend some loose change, hopefully, inflation isn't through the roof more than it is.
I mean, even this month is, if you start a campaign in August or October, you might do well and you may not. It's getting so close to Christmas and the holidays.
Yeah. So I chose to write it out. I just want to get these things out there to kind of generate some buzz about the campaign. And then
this is so you're going to launch another campaign?
Well, I have the trade card campaign out right now. It's the only one I've got. And then pretty soon
now you can pre-order the book from here, but now you're going to have additional stuff with the book and launch the book on a separate campaign as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, because I'm also going to launch the F-26 Aerostar campaign. That's the miniature. And you'll be able to pre-order the book through that as well. And then in February, I'm just going to launch the books campaign.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, tax time. I like tax time, at the beginning for like
launching campaign. People, have a little bit of extra money. It's always a good time to.
Are you going to go with another platform, RJ, besides Fund My Comic eventually with it, or are you just going to exclusively stay with Fund My Comic?
Eventually, I'll expand to other platforms, but I'm going to definitely start on Fund My Comic exclusively. At least for the first month.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Luke offers, or he was when I was doing mine, 2%. I think if you exclusively give the first 30 days to just Fund My Comic and no other platform.
I think it's worth it to help Luke, but also that's a great deal, and so I'm just
absolutely.
Take advantage of that.
I mean, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, more creators need to do that. People were begging, for their own platform. Ethan was talking about, we need our own platform. We could be shadow banned at any point, and that kind of went by the wayside. No one ever quite did it, till Luke came along and he's done it, and I'm like, yeah, why not support this? It's not, and probably for the most unlikely guy, he barely survived COVID. He's only got like 30% use of his lungs or whatever after that pandemic. It comes from an unlikely source. It just shows you the tenacity that Luke has.
Yep, exactly.
He's a fighter, dude.
Yeah, he's the guy you want in your corner for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got, and I can't wait till he does get a campaign over there that hits 6 figures. I think at that point, people will look at it as a much viable, a more viable, option. I think it's a viable option right now. People have done very well with some of their campaigns over there. Mike Barron being one of them that you mentioned earlier.
Like I said, quite a few of the bigger guys that I'm still in check and stuff with are very seriously considering at least dipping a toe into Fund My Comic to see how they do. So,
I mean, one campaign you can always go first over Fund My Comics, see how it does, and then you can always go to Indiegogo or Kickstarter. I don't see what the big deal is,
right. Well, now from what I've heard, Kickstarter is the only one. Like, if you do Indiegogo first, when you go to Kickstarter, then you're going to have to do at least one different cover or and some different items to offer on the campaign, because they don't want the same shit you did on Indiegogo.
Yeah, and I don't see a problem with that. I mean, every platform, let's say I took Devil Flyer to Kickstarter, I would do a new cover for Kickstarter, or if I went to Indiegogo, I'd do a new cover. It's no problem.
But in the opposite direction, from what I've heard, if you do Kickstarter first and then go Indiegogo, you can do the exact same campaign. Basically, you don't even have to change it.
Yeah.
And then
I wonder if you could use the same artwork. Remember, John Dillard with my A cover did different backgrounds. We were talking, we had a black background, we had a burgundy, we had more of a. I wonder if you could
that counts as a variant, right? If you change up the
colors. That's what I'm saying. You probably use the same cover artwork, but with a different coloring, and I would think that would be acceptable over on Kickstarter.
Yeah, and you just call it, a variant of something.
Because unless you're doing your own artwork, you're having to pay a different artist to do a different cover. It can get expensive.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why you gotta. I don't see anything wrong with doing all 3 platforms, but you just
get into publishing your own thing. It's like, I could take that same image, I could flop it around, I could reuse it, I could recycle it, I could put it in an ad, a promo. You want to get the most out of what you have of your artwork.
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially when you're doling out money to artists.
You're paying good money to an artist. You want to get, mileage out of that.
Exactly. As much mileage as you can, for sure.
Yeah.
On certain things.
Sure.
Speaking of artwork, I have this is the Pop Sock.
You do well, you treat your artists well.
So this thing is free if you subscribe to the Substack and then respond to the welcome email. I'm trying to find the best angle for this thing.
Okay. And so that's for your phone.
Yep. So you put this on the back of your phone. You can see it's kind of shiny.
Orion?
Yeah, this is the first rendition of Orion. Okay. This was drawn by Johnny on Twitter. He goes by JP7 Art. He's the same artist who made the trade card as well. So yeah, this is the first rendition of Orion. If you're into pop sockets and it's an easy free thing to get, just subscribe to my Substack, reply to the welcome email with your emailing address, and I'll mail this to you.
Wow, that's a deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who doesn't like that stuff?
I'm gonna make myself sound really old here, but what exactly is a pop socket? Is that just the little thing that goes on the back of your phone for like a
Yep.
stand? Oh,
Yep,
okay.
it's a stand. There's like mounts that you can get for your car to mount it on your dashboard.
Oh, cool.
I'm not mounting any car. I just want to make anyway.
Yeah.
But I love my Corvette.
A little
Rex.
humor, very little.
It's a stand. It's also a handle. Like I've
Yeah.
got one.
I've seen people use them as like a handle.
Let me swap it out here. I've got a Star Wars one because I'm about to get a new case and I didn't want to burn the one I've got. I want to keep on my stock for subscribers to my Substack. But you could interchange them. Let me.
Well, I'm definitely going to do that. You know, subscribe to your Substack and make a comment.
Oh yeah. As soon as we get off the show here, I've already got the links in my Instagram. So
appreciate that. Yeah, because when I've got people, who are on the mailing list, that's going to be definitely encouragement to launch the campaign. But yeah, you can see like a pop socket, you could hold it, and I got a big phone, so it's just an easy way to hold it.
Will you be going through MailChimp, or what kind of mailing list are you going to put up?
I use Substack as a mailing list because aside from being free, I mean, a lot of MailChimp has a free version too, but Substack is free and it's an easy way to write articles and posts that get emailed to your subscribers. And it pretty much serves that same function. And I like coming up with reviews. So like I'm writing a review right now for Jared Frost on his comic book Morningstar. And that is going to get sent out to all my Substack subscribers. Also, I'll be making a YouTube video for it as well. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Rex, you muted yourself there, buddy. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. Okay.
Yeah, so I like Substack, keeping in touch with people.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten into it a lot yet, but I'm gonna have to, I think, because it seems more and more people are heading over there and doing stuff there.
Yeah, it's good for more than just pancakes.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I got started with smartphones and everything pretty late in the game, so I'm old and I'm kind of set in my ways. I know Instagram fairly well. I'm pretty good with that. I've started to get to know X now because back in, what was it, 2018? I think it was 2018. I tried to get on Twitter, and I made one comment, and I agreed with something that Trump said, and I was banned for however long it took until 6 months after Elon bought Twitter.
Yeah, that's how old Twitter was. That's why I got off of it. I think I got on when Musk bought it to see what would happen.
Yeah. And I would go on every 6 months or so and see if I could start my account back up, and they were like, "You are permabanned." Like, oh, geez.
Yeah. I like X because you could basically say whatever you want. That's my accomplist.
Yeah, and then Elon turns out to be fairly based, man, for as much money he's got and all that crap. I mean, I don't know if it's all an act, but the guy's he's been impressing me lately.
Yeah, I wrote an article about like the fairness doctrine and how people kind of just want censorship and regulation, and I prefer my internet like the internet 20 years ago that Dave Chappelle made fun of. It was like the Old West. You walk down the street and there's just a room with hookers and people getting shot in the street.
Oh, hey,
the internet was better back then.
Howdy, sir.
Shut
I don't want Demolition Man society.
Pop out for a second. That echo is starting again, and
yeah, no problem, dude. I gotta go anyway. It's time for me to start making dinner. So it's
okay.
Almost.
What are you gonna do for dinner?
Just making chicken nuggets and corn dogs for the kids tonight, dude. The wife doesn't get home until later, and I'm dead from work. So
yeah.
But RJ, it's
I
great
was
to meet you. I'm sorry about the echo.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me. Good talking to you.
All right, Rex, I will text you or something later. Hail.
okay. Yeah.
Well, now it's just us.
And now there were two. Yeah. So you get in a lot of hours. You're going to stick with the firefighting and, you know,
Yeah, I mean that's the plan.
kind of retire from the day job with a nice pension eventually.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Now what is retirement for that? Is it like 20 years? You got to put in 25? What?
25.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. And you've been doing it for like 15 years, is that right?
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're getting there, man. You'll be there before you know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have any
Yeah.
gray hairs yet. I feel like I should sometimes.
Yeah. I guess you know about team effort and camaraderie and
Oh yeah.
have a lot of fun with the guys and stuff
Yeah.
in the downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it's like going off to war on the front line, right? In a certain respect, that you got to know who's kind of got your back in a situation, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And then you know, I guess you have drills as well.
Mhm.
And
That's
those are
kind of my inspiration to write about the alphas. They're a unit, you know.
mhm,
I actually had to read up on military units because I wasn't too familiar with them. Like I know like first responder local units, if you will,
right.
but yeah, I read about. I had to do some reading on what military special forces are like to learn about the alphas. But that, you know, I was writing what I knew in a way. Like it's very similar in a lot of ways.
I think now you're a person with a dangerous job, potentially dangerous, right? I mean, like every day, you really don't take life for granted, do you?
No, you know, you see how fragile
Hmm.
things really are. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. I guess you've lost friends.
No, fortunately,
No.
I mean, no one, not in fires per se. Like surprisingly, like non-line of duty related things,
Hmm. Hmm.
like cancer, things like that. You know,
Well, that's
but
that's
that is not like direct action, but like yeah, it's still line of duty because you're exposed to all those carcinogens on the job still. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you just the different chemicals that are released into the atmosphere and
yeah.
around in the burn area is probably
Mhm.
the most hazardous thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's usually what gets you like 30 years later.
Wow. Well, you know, you got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'm like deal with chemicals, and if we have a break in or a spill or something like that, we've got to get the FBI and the EPA in on it. You know,
Mhm.
so uh, you know, and you have to have a license to use those chemicals and things. So I spray mosquitoes in the on season for the cities and stuff, and go down every street. It's a good way to learn your city, you know,
Mhm.
to know where
Mhm.
things are. Now, I can, if you said, where's Lincoln Street or something, I might, and I might not know it. You know, it's not, but I could definitely get you there, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
if I knew approximately and looked at a map or a GPS, I could go, oh yeah, you know, because I drive that every day or, you know, a lot, you know. Really the where I'm at here is the most complex. It's the
Mhm.
largest. And you know, it's split up into different zones. So one year you may get zone 3, you know, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, whatever, but you may not get it for another 5 years, you know. It's so massive an undertaking.
Mhm.
You know, and then I have a city that I generally go there, but this year's been like, okay, go to this city, go to that city, go to this city. So I'm like going all over the place, you know, at different times.
I'm
Never
guessing by
know.
your accent, there's a lot of mosquitoes where you live.
Yeah, and like Texas, Florida, Louisiana, states like that, they spray year round. It's not
Mhm.
seasonal for them.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, in Colorado, at this elevation, we don't have nearly as many insects as you guys
well,
got.
good. I mean, that's the number one killer of mankind are mosquitoes. Over 2 million a year from
Yeah.
like mosquito related diseases like
Mhm.
malaria and ZZ and West Niles. I heard, I don't know what states, but I heard this year alone there was an outbreak of West Niles in 18 different states.
Yeah. I bet it's mostly the South too. It's
Probably.
gotta be.
Yeah. I know it wasn't here in Arkansas, but
Mm.
you know. Now, have you lived in Colorado all your life, RJ?
I'm from California originally.
Are
That's how
you?
I ended up with Disney. Yeah.
I was conceived out in California. I learned
Oh,
that.
yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Uh,
funny.
well, I met my a little backstory. End of June, I met I at least online on Facebook, my sister, because I was
Mhm.
adopted and
Oh,
you
wow.
know, never knew my actual family. Now I've discovered through my daughter did a ancestry.com, and through that DNA, my sister hunted me down. In fact, we had different fathers. Her father was up here. We've got family up here in Brooklyn, which is just about 20-minute drive from here.
Mhm.
Another little small town. Um, so we've got family buried up here and family living up here and stuff. Apparently, I've not met any of them. I've not even met my sister yet, but I've talked to her on the phone a lot.
Wow.
And I was talking to her early this morning. She couldn't sleep, and I talked to her for a good little bit. She had gotten actually some more information from my mother, who's been kind of my birth mother, that was a little reticent to share some of those bad times, uh,
Mhm.
even with her. And we had a family Bible with a lot of the information and stuff burned back in like 85, 86, somewhere in there, uh, with the homestead. So a lot
Mm.
of that documentations and backstory, Rex's origin story, you know, uh, has been lost. But yeah, uh, so we were talking about my father. She found out a couple things about my father, and
Mm.
we're gonna meet here pretty soon, and that'll be cool. We'll take a little trip or something together. She couldn't believe I was still in the state,
Mm.
but yeah, conceived out in California and born in Arkansas,
What do you know?
and she couldn't believe I was still here. She knew
Wow.
of me for like 30 years, but didn't know where I was
Mm.
because the grandparents, told her about me, but she didn't know where to look. And she would
Right.
actively tried even 30 years ago to find me, but just couldn't.
Mhm.
You know.
My it's kind of sort of related to what we're talking about and my story. So one
Mhm.
reason I chose a fighter squadron, my grandpa was actually a bombardier in World War II, and
Oh, okay.
uh, yeah, he
Well, I
flew a
mean,
lot of
that
the.
had a big influence on Star Wars.
Yeah, it did.
He actually used for reference, and
Hmm.
and you know what? It really wasn't that apparent when I watched Star Wars. I didn't think. Of course, I was 12 years old when Star Wars came out. I wasn't probably didn't watch. I've always been fascinated by all that old footage and World War II and things like that. But
Yeah,
go
and
ahead, RJ. I didn't mean to really
oh,
cut you off.
that's all right. Oh, George Lucas is in the chat. Hey,
George
George.
Lucas is in the chat.
Thank you for your contribution.
Absolutely. Uh,
Um, but yeah, the World War II footage, yeah. World War II is just an inspiration. Obviously, you got the Allied forces and the Rebel
mhm.
Alliance and the empires. Obvious Nazi influences in their costume design and all that. But yeah, my grandpa was a bombardier. He flew a lot of his missions with the Tuskegee Airmen as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah, so that was a big influence on why I was so interested in the squadrons and like make it sort of like a military
Mhm.
focus in the space futuristic setting. But also about that, my grandpa, he was a huge role model of mine. But you know, like everyone makes mistakes in their younger days, and especially if you're overseas as a soldier serving, you know, things happened out there. He found out about a daughter he had like when he was like in his 70s. She
Wow.
was in England, conceived in England, raised in England. He just didn't know about her for the longest time. But
Well, I haven't. My sister's been pushing me to do a DNA test and just see where
mhm,
we came out of England. Apparently,
mm,
landed in Maryland.
mm,
In fact, our sort of coat of arms or family whatever is on the flag of Maryland, and
mhm,
had. I mean, we've got a seedier side of the family, you know, bootleggers and things like that. But
mm,
you know, um, related to two presidents and the governor of Virginia, seventh cousin removed of the Virginian, and he was the signer of the Declaration of Independence. So hey, it's working out for me. But yeah, I mean, we're just hillbillies in Arkansas now.
that's fine. I mean, every
Lynn,
family has a seedy side. I have another grandfather who was in old Hollywood and
mhm.
had a vague mafia connection via Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did he work in the movies?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
he was an actor.
okay, wow.
Um,
And what was his name?
Arthur Mackey, went by Sonny Mackey. He had a lot of small roles. He wasn't big. Yeah,
Uh huh.
yeah.
Any notable things that we would know by title that he
Sergeant
did?
York.
Oh wow,
He was
Sergeant
only
York
12 at
with
the time.
was that with Gary Cooper?
hmm I think so. He was
Wow,
only 12 at the time.
that movie screams to be remade
Yeah,
because the
that has
movie
potential.
is. I've read the auto Sergeant York's Sergeant York. Take two. Uh, Sergeant York's autobiography
Mhm.
and the book is more riveting than that movie,
It's
which
funny how
is
that's often the
not
case.
even close to what really happened,
Mm.
you know, and they need to remake the Sergeant York movie.
I
They
could see
really
how
do.
there's potential there for a remake for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I mean, you know, he never did the blah, 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 the turkey call and knocked them
oh,
off,
really?
you
That's
know.
what everyone believes, though.
Well, I know, but well, maybe he did it, but it wasn't in the autobiography. At
Mm.
one point, he was rounding up all these prisoners because they went behind enemy lines, right? And he had not disarmed this German lieutenant. He hadn't had time, and there were six Nazis charging him with
Mhm.
bayonets. And he said, if I shoot the one in the front, they're going to scatter and they're eventually going to get me. So he shot them like ducks. He started with the one that was furthest away and just knocked him off. And by the time he got to the lead guy, he was within about 10 feet, obscuring him with the. And at the very same time, he had this lieutenant with a Luger firing from the other side, from
Mhm.
behind. And he had holes in his clothes like Washington, but it never hit him.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
multiple hoes. So I mean, what a story! The story in the autobiography. I definitely, if you've not read it gets a little. You know, he tried to open up a Christian school for a little while in Tennessee, where he
Mhm.
lived and was from, and it gets a little drags the book, but the first 75 pages or so riveting. You know,
Mm.
when it talks about his account of how he did what he did. Most decorated soldier of World War One. Just amazing, you know,
Mhm.
man of courage. Or you know, he had some of that Daniel Boone sort of Lewis and Clark blood. You know,
Mhm.
I think in him. You know, a man of conscience, of course.
Mhm.
As the movie kind of brought out. Is there
Mhm.
any other movie that he might have been in that your grandfather that we might know of?
Movie, no. His other most famous role would be like in the Argane comedies, which later became Little Rascals. He wasn't one of the main
Okay.
ones. He
Oh,
was
wow. Okay, working with, the Argane kids and, which go all the way back to radio and, silent movies. They
yep,
did Argane silent movies, and, they weren't called Little Rascals till the '50s, I think, when they
yep.
reissued a bunch of that stuff. Hal Roach came up with that. There's a story where Shirley Temple, and her and her mother deny this, but she tried out and for the Little Rascals, and she was denied. So it was bad
Mm,
press. Of course,
interesting.
they're going to deny it, but
Yeah.
there is a story that and Hal Roach's Little Rascals had a lot of Smith had a lot of knockoffs,
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Barty, I think, starred in one of those. It was like all the kids were in diapers or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's Little Rascals wasn't the only one to use like kid talent at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have something successful like that, and I think because they had been around for a while, first on radio and then the silent movies, which had like Fatty, Fedora, that had the ribbons in her hair, and some of the early Gary Cooper was the one that was very early on. He played Perry White in the Christopher Reeves Superman.
Hmm.
You might know him from that. But yeah, he started out. The Donald Blake from Beretta was a Little Rascal guy. He was actually pretty cute as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of child actors that, I mean, I don't know, back then, this was like kids' content, just like now.
Well, I mean, Shirley Temple, it was probably a good thing that she didn't get lumped into those Hal Roach our gang things, because she became probably the highest paid person in Hollywood there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So like my grandfather and all his siblings were child actors during the Great Depression. That was like his mom's like secret of like how she made extra income.
Any way
it's
to
legal
make
child labor.
But California was the place to be, especially in the Depression era. You got the grapes of wrath where they're trying to make it to California.
They're all trying to get there. Yeah, they had a general store, like a bodega in Los Angeles, and all the kids were actors, and my grandma would like knit sweaters and make tamales. So my that side of the family, they're Irish and Mexican, and the Irish family, the Mackeys, they came from Mexico, so they moved to Mexico before America. So they all came up here from Mexico, lived in Los Angeles, and my grandma would make tamales.
You got a more international crowd there on the West Coast. A lot of Orientals, Chinese, and just from
Koreatown,
all over the world.
That's why in the LA riots, there were the rooftop Koreans, because that was Koreatown at the time. Yeah, we do have a very international crowd, at least where I grew up. I say we, like I'm in Colorado now, but that's where I grew up. So
now with your job, do they keep you on call? Back in the day we were talking pagers the other day.
Oh yeah, that's more volunteers, and like rural kind of fire department stuff. I volunteered for a while and I responded on a pager where I live, but no, we full time. If you do it full time, you work.
You're either on or you're off, right? Yeah. Has there been a time where a blaze or something emergency's been such that they've had to call you in?
No, there's enough people on staff.
Okay.
They can manage it,
You're probably pretty well funded with the fire engine and stuff now. Have you, your equipment, have you had to like polish that thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you get to slide down the pole? You got a pole?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess fire stations still have the pole.
Yeah, they're going out of style. Too many injuries.
Yeah.
But it is the most efficient way when you're rolling out of bed, and if you sleep upstairs, that's the most efficient way to get down there.
Yeah.
I love it.
I would be pretending I'm Adam West or Burt Ward.
It is a lot of fun to roll out of bed and slide down a pole. You feel like it's the real deal,
Mm-hmm. Well, now, isn't there a cushion at the bottom?
There is. There's like a rubber mat.
Yeah.
People have injured. There's been broken ankles. People just don't mess it up.
Well, we were talking like Little Rascals. I'm sure they did a skit with a fire pole. There's been so many skits with fire poles. Very funny skits with fire poles. You
Yeah.
mentioned a rubber mat. It would be funny if you came down and then bounced back up.
Right.
Where's Roger? Oh, he's in the roof. He's in the attic.
That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could see
When
that
I'm out
little rascal
spraying
kind of
mosquitoes,
humor.
I really try and get the firefighting areas, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they appreciate that or not. Why get that pesticide out of here?
Right.
But you know, it doesn't take but about one mosquito in your house to make your life miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm in Colorado where there's not as many insects.
Well, all right. Give me your 30-second pitch for your book. I'll let you
All right,
practice your 30-second pitch.
Go. If you like space action, dystopia, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Starship Troopers, any of that kind of stuff, then go on Fund My Comic and check out Call Sign Orion. Right now we have the Lena Riley trade card. Go on Fund My Comic, check that out. You could get one signed by Lisa Foyles, actress from All That, Malcolm in the Middle. You get that signed, and also pre-order the book. And if you go to my Substack page, respond to the welcome email with your mailing address, and I will send you a free Orion pop socket. And stay tuned for the F-26 Aerostar campaign for miniatures that will soon launch. Also on Fund My Comic.
Very cool. Yeah. And you know, when you're showing those 3D, it's like, I know Shadowhawk's going to back that when you come out with that. And you're looking at February launch. Where are you going to launch that? Do you know yet?
Fund My Comic.
Well, I mean, what channel?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't have a channel.
And what kind of? Oh, you don't have a channel?
I mean, I have my own channel, but I don't know where I'm going to launch.
Okay, what kind of content do you put up on your YouTube channel?
I put up a little bit of everything. You know, I like to make fun of Disney, my former employer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever the buzz is, whatever people are talking about, and I do try to do reviews and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm currently working on a review for Jared Frost. It'll also be on my both YouTube and Substack.
I imagine Disney was a better place to work for when you worked for them.
It was back then. It was still Bob Iger. Bob Iger's got good business sense, but I think it's been kind of hijacked by very so-called progressive
woke crowd. Yeah. And then some of their policies, just their insurance policies, and why people are fired and hired. It's
there's that. There's a Gina Carano thing. There's the whole Mulan shooting and how they
did you like the Mandalorian? I still haven't seen any Mandalorian myself.
I've seen some of it. You know, it's fine. But I think like a lot of their series, like by season 3, their male protagonist is like a side character in his own show.
Have you given up on Star Wars? Are they destroying it with like movies like Solo, or did you like Solo?
Solo was awful. Yeah, I didn't like any of the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, just parse words, RJ. You know, just soften the blow.
I mean, it was just bad. What else can I say?
Yeah,
and we don't need a Solo prequel. You know, it's not important to the story so much. Han Solo is who he is. You know that archetype when you meet him instantly.
What's kind of your take on the state of entertainment right now? Well, I mean, with all
this, it's funny. I was actually going to
political correctness and wokeness. You know,
I think things are starting to turn. Like the movie Twisters. You know, that was a big blockbuster this year. We have other good content that's, I'd say, like Cobra Kai, for example. That's kind of a long running show.
Or the second Top Gun movie, Mavericks,
or a second Top Gun movie. Although that wasn't this year. But yes, right. I think we're starting to see a trend of things turning. I mean, every free market ultimately responds to its
audience. It just seems like the Titanic, you know, that it's turning very slowly.
It is very slow. I think that speaks to how there's not a whole lot of competition in the media market right now. You know.
Well, we didn't get here overnight, so I don't think we're going to get out of it overnight.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. It was a slow process getting here. Culture takes sometimes a long time to change. So,
yeah,
I think we are getting there.
I think more traditional conservatives, family oriented, whatever, traditional values that's been around thousands of years, we don't have to remake everything, folks.
Right.
Recast it in a new light. I don't think,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know.
it'd be nice to have original content too, and not just the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Just fun
you're seeing a lot of
reimagined.
remakes, a lot of rehashes. It's just not interesting. I think it's losing public interest very quickly and destroying some great
Hmm.
franchises that have been around for decades.
Yeah, we have a
The
lot of
James
producers.
Bond decade, the James Bond franchise, rather, the
Hmm.
Doctor Who
Hmm.
franchise. It's not just here; it's in other countries as well.
Hmm. Well, James Bond's another good example. I've seen the meme comparing like the Pierce Brosnan Bond versus like the last Daniel Craig movie where he's Pierce Brosnan is he's driving a motorcycle while handcuffed
Yeah,
with handcuffed to a beautiful woman who's behind him, and the next one it's Daniel Craig in his last movie. He's on the back of the motorcycle.
yeah, yeah. And I think they kill him off or something,
They
right? And
do,
bring
they
in a
do.
new
Well, same with
female
Indiana
Black Bond.
Jones. They got to replace all the male characters, especially the white ones. They hate them. They got to get rid of them. They're problematic.
I know.
But they'll still use their name to get you into the seat to see the movie.
Well, I learned earlier today that my father was part Hispanic, so maybe that'll give me some street cred, even though I do look dishwater
Well, I am too, but
transparent.
I don't look like it.
Yeah. Well, I
Too
can
Irish
see
for
the
me too much.
Irish in you. I can see,
Everyone sees that.
yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have like the little auburn hair? I used to have
Yeah.
auburn hair.
Yeah.
I've still got it, but it's just a better hidden, I can see it on my arms better than I can my head anymore.
Yeah.
When that auburn really comes out when your hair's wet, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're like, whoa. Well, it's been a pleasure, RJ.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's looks like a great project. You got a great artist with Luke Stone there.
Yeah, he's a great artist, especially when it comes to sequential art. It's just fun to follow his panels. I think he did a great job with the ship design, which was a very unique challenge for a comic book.
I know he's a busy guy, but by February, how much percentage do you think, just guesstimate, will the book be done? At least, the artwork.
I don't think we'll have any more artwork than the 4 pages that are done and the cover. Once we hit our funding
you're
goal,
gonna wait and see if it funds and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try and hit our funding goal with what we've got plus a cover, and go from there.
Okay.
So to help make it happen, get on the Substack.
Anytime you want to come back, RJ, you're invited back. We'd love to have you on, talk about your projects, and hang out and just have fun. Talk pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
I've still got questions. Like classic sci-fi, like This Planet Earth or something. I don't know. We'll pick his brain over that type of stuff later, but you're doing a great job out there, and thank you for your service. It's people like you that keep us safe in in emergency situations. So I do want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, and thank you again for having me.
Appreciate our firefighters and our military and our boys in blue. Right. I was saddened to hear Magnum PI's Boys in Blue, TV show being canceled.
Oh, that got canceled? That was it was a good show. Yeah.
I know it's probably never got enough love, but in this current culture, I think they're just kind of a political thing,
It is. It's the current.
It wasn't a writing thing, but there's been a lot of shows, when it comes to the executives, their pickers broke sometimes, they often cancel things like Star Trek prematurely or don't give it a chance. And now it's beloved by fandom,
Well, like Last Man Standing was a good example. That Tim Allen show that was really popular, and they canceled it in the height of its popularity. I don't really know why.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Like The Honeymooners. The Honeymooners were #1 on TV and only had 2 seasons. For whatever various reasons. Laramie, that I've been watching, which was a Western in the late like 59, something like that. I'm 58, 59, early 60s. Had 4 seasons. It could have probably done more than that, but it was the big thing coming in was like comedies. And so they put 2 comedies that didn't last very long in that time slot. and that's how it got canceled. They wanted to try something new, even though it was a popular show and #1 at the time in Japan. It was
It
huge in
seemed
Japan.
like bad business just to cancel your #1 show in the height of its popularity.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it did, as far as the Honeymooners, I don't think it did his career any good. Jackie Gleason, it could have been even more, than what it was. I remember him in the Smokey and the Bandit movies, playing the sheriff, but I haven't really watched that many Honeymooners, but as far as early TV, that was a biggie, kind of like I Love Lucy. Very big show.
I remember I Love Lucy.
It's amazing what was done in live TV, and it's just lost to us today. They didn't record it. It was just entertainment of the moment. And you were either there and saw the broadcast, or it was never broadcast again. It's amazing they had that model, that they didn't keep a record of it. It kind of blows my mind.
Yeah. That was from an era when you had a lot of actors who started out on stage, and
it was more theatrical. We were talking 1984, James Orwell. They had like some of those recorded, but they were done like TV stage things. And of course I grew up on PBS with Masterpiece Theater, watching different things like that. Where do you think I got this chair from? Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Say the magic words, RJ. You may not know them. It's keep collecting.
Keep collecting.
Hey, nailed it in one. Wow, he's a pro. Go check out RJ's YouTube channel. It's in the chat. His Substack. Got a great deal, man.
Yeah, thank you.
If you what's the requirements of getting that sweet little merch you got?
Yeah, just subscribe to the Substack, and then when I send you the welcome email, reply with your mailing address, and you get yourself a free Orion pop socket. It's shiny.
That's the best offer I've seen today, and also check his campaign out on Fund My Comic. His comic, did you tell me where it was going to launch?
It'll be on Fund My Comic.
Well,
the channel? No, no, I don't have a channel to launch it yet. We'll find out when we get closer. There's my Substack in the chat right there. If you want to get that.
February seems a lot, a long way off, but it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
We got a few things like, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas to get through. Do you deck out the fireplace, with lights and stuff? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll kind of go all out for that as a team, decorate it. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Well, you stay safe out there. I think
you.
that was a line from Hill Street Blues. And hey, he would stop everybody. You know what was coming week after week. He'd go, and hey, everybody's already getting up out of their seats and going. And he's like, be safe out there.
Yeah, that's what Luke likes to say. Be careful out there.
Be careful out there. Absolutely. Bow for now. And keep collecting. Absolutely.
Keep collecting.